My heart goes out to new agents.
How do you deal with that?
It is a tough.
That's a lot, right?
I'm sure my therapist could say something.
What's the very first step in creating a client for life experience?
If you didn't love it, you wouldn't be in the business this length. And I
Yeah.
know any useless information they need to know.
What's one misconception about building lifelong clients?
You do have to be careful
Yeah.
not to be too much. I should be a better girl for this. I'm sorry, young realtors. People don't appreciate the sacrifice.
The Red Chair Podcast. Real truth behind real people in real estate.
So, welcome to another episode of the Red Chair Podcast. We are so glad you've chosen to join us today. We've got another great conversation for you. We appreciate if this is your first time joining us, we're so glad that you are doing so. But if you've checked us out previously, thanks. And you can do us a favor by clicking that bell and subscribing to our channel so that you get updates on all of the podcast episodes that are available to you. We are also on Spotify. So maybe you're watching us or listening to us from Spotify right now. Welcome. Maybe you're in your car, you're doing groceries, you're doing something else, but you're tuning in, and we are so grateful for that. So thanks for joining us today. We've got another great episode today with a new agent, not a new agent. Sorry, I didn't mean it like that, but I meant like a new agent that's going to be here talking, but she's a very experienced agent. But the topic that we're talking about today is really around building lifelong clients in real estate. So, in real estate, some clients buy or sell once and move on, but others become lifelong clients. And so referring their friends, calling you decades later, and trusting you through every stage of life. So today we're diving into that blueprint for turning a single transaction into a lifelong relationship. So really, this episode is probably more prone to another agent that might be thinking, well, how can I build that blueprint? And so this episode is for you. But if you're the consumer, don't tune out. We want you to listen in as well, because there will be some valuable insights here for you as well, because we want you to know how much we value you and that lifelong relationship that we build for the sake of future business. So with me in the red chair today, after
Yes.
all of that, I have Tammi Dimock. Tammi, welcome.
Thank you.
Can you tell me a little bit about yourself, how long you've been in real estate? I know I said new, but you're not, so tell us.
Well, I'm actually 35 years. This is,
Wow.
I know, it's hard
You're
to
a
believe.
lifer.
It's a lifer.
Yeah.
35 years, and pretty much been with the company for like 25 of the 35 years. So
We'll forgive you for that, those wayward years.
Those years,
Yeah,
yes.
And so you primarily work kind of in the souk area, correct?
Mhm.
Okay.
I kind of specialize in souk because souk is home for me.
Yeah.
And back when I started, the good old days, it was basically kind of recommended that you specialize in an area and or farm it, as
Right.
we called it.
Right.
So souk has always been home. I love it, but I've kind of ventured out into Victorian and Western communities sometimes.
Right. Awesome. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, once you know the skills, you can go anywhere with them, right?
Pretty much. And
Yeah.
it's kind of interesting because, again, those clients, even though you've sold them into Victoria or Sydney or Mill Bay, they still reach out to you.
Right. Yeah.
So it is actually quite cool to have those clients still come back and find you and seek you out
Yeah, definitely.
10 and 20 years later.
And that does happen so frequently, doesn't it? I mean, really, if you've, built your business properly, you're going to be connecting with those people all the time, and, maybe not like every day, but like, once a year or so, and reminding them that you're there for future business. So,
I truly love it when people reach out and it's been 20, 25 years and, you still feel like it was yesterday.
yeah.
So it still does my heart good when you're dealing with old clients, because they truly are. They're past client state, they're friend state.
Yeah.
So, and like good old friends, you can not talk to them for 6 months, but
Right.
they're still there.
Yeah,
Right. And that's what
totally.
they become.
That's so good. So
Mhm.
this is off script, but just a question that I'm curious
Ooh.
about. 35 years.
I know.
That's a long time doing this. And I know there's like, peaks and valleys in this business for sure, right?
Oh,
After
gosh.
35 years, would you say that you still love it like you do from those first glory years?
You know what? If you didn't love it, you wouldn't be in the business this length.
Yeah.
It truly is. There are for sure some tough moments in the career, but overall, it brings me the greatest happiness when you're able to find that perfect home for those perfect clients. So,
Yeah. So good.
yeah, I love it. And now, of course, I work with a team which
Right.
consists of my son and my daughter. And
Right.
hopefully, in the next 5 to 10 years, one would consider retiring, maybe. I don't know. Maybe not.
Not you. You're not going to
Nah.
retire, right? You're never going to
No.
retire. No.
So, but it's been great because I
Yeah.
do think things change and you got to go with the flow.
Yeah.
And I think teams nowadays are a really good support system.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
I'm glad you answered that way because we would have turned a really weird corner if you had said, "No, I hate it. I don't want to do
Get
this
me out of
anymore." That would have been more like less a podcast and more a therapy session at that point.
I'm sure my therapist could say something. No, no,
I'm sure mine could as well. And it's important to have a therapist in this business, and that's a whole other podcast episode.
it totally is.
Yeah.
I can come on that next show for you, April.
Right. Okay. That sounds good. You're booked. So, moving back into what we were originally talking about, let's start out with just sort of talking about the foundation of lifelong relationships and what that means. So, first question I have for you is what's the very first step in creating a client for life experience?
Well, I think you kind of get that when you meet people right off the get-go. You can kind of feel that connection and then you kind of work on that. So from that moment, they rely on you and they trust you and you can feel it. And sometimes you don't always get that click, but
Right.
most of the time, and those are those clients that will keep with you for the rest of your life. And they don't just refer their friends, like you are their family. You become part of that family too. And their kids or grandma and grandpa have to sell. Well, hey, you're their family realtor, and you've kind of earned that spot amongst them, and they don't even consider other people. So
Right.
I think building relationships like that is huge.
Yeah.
Like, if anything you do in the business, building lifelong clients is the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. For that continued success in career. I mean, 35 years and I'm still going strong.
Yeah.
So,
So, you're
and
doing
that
something
is,
right.
yeah, good old clients that just did
Yeah.
believe and trust you. And it's trust. Trust is always going to be,
Yeah.
right?
So, do you have a moment there, kind of like through the process? Like, let's say it's a new client, someone that you maybe got referred to you, or they've just come in and your face is everywhere. I've heard you're the best, and you're starting that relationship. At what point are you having that conversation with them saying, like, hey, we're buds for life now? Like, don't forget that I'm here. Like, how do you deal with that?
I don't even know if that conversation ever happens.
Okay.
To be honest,
Yeah.
I think it revolves. It happens. You've been referred to me, and then through my actions and our conversations, and we actually build that relationship. And
Mhm.
so I am that person you're going to be reaching out to at 11 o'clock at night because you're panicking or
Yeah.
whatever. And because there's that back and forth, you're not having because they just know that you are their person.
Yeah.
So that conversation's never really, I've never had that one that said, hey, April, remember, I'm your
Yeah.
girl for life.
Right.
But
So
you
it's
are,
more organic.
yes,
It's
totally.
just you, there's like sort of a quiet understanding that like we're good now for life.
For the rest of our lives.
Yeah,
Forever
yeah.
and ever.
And so how do you foster that then? Like what are the things that you do to sort of make sure that they don't forget that relationship is there?
Well, there's always, of course, there's always the company notepads and the calendars and those little,
Right.
but those are the ones that really count. I think the more organic, where you see them in the restaurant, you go over and you give them a hug, and then their friends are like, whoa, who's that? And they're like, oh, that's my realtor.
Yeah.
You see them in the grocery store. You remember their names. You
Right.
remember their children. You go to their birthday party if they're invited. You actually, any event, if they come and ask you for sponsorship for their baseball team,
Right.
you're
Yeah.
doing what you got to do.
Yeah.
And so I think it's more like, you can be very professional and send out all this and that, but I think they really appreciate the fact that you remember them and you see them and you
Yeah.
talk to them. I'm a hugger. I'm always hugging
I love
clients.
that. I love that.
You're just
Yeah.
like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
Or sometimes I honestly, I will just buy 5 bouquets of flowers and I just deliver them. Hey, the
Wow.
house is looking great. I just missed you, but wanted to let you know that I just drove by and the house looks fab. So,
Yeah.
just simple little,
Yeah. Little gestures.
just they
Yeah.
truly do love it. And I know that my team hates it, but I am known to just go over and knock on doors if I saw something and just pull in, or if you see them outside, just pull in,
Yeah.
go start conversation because you always want to be in their face in a nice way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think one of the things, I'll toot your horn for a minute because, I've known you long enough now that you just are so good at this particular part of the business. You are so extremely thoughtful and generous.
thank you,
But
April.
also yeah,
Thank you.
I'm never going to cry.
I'm emotional.
But also, you give back to the community in such an important way. Sort of seems like every time I'm talking to you, you're, serving at some function or something with the Lions Club or, with whatever is in town there with softball or different sports, and that takes a lot of effort on your part. Like, that's a lot, right? Or
And
is
you know
it?
what? But it is the love of giving back. I feel personally that my community supports me and
Mm,
thus it has to go back to them. So I am a big supporter of pretty much anything that walks through the office door. I will support. I mean, um, if it's not a women's soccer team going off here, it's a little league this, it's the brownies, it's the theater group, it's Meals on Wheels,
yeah.
whatever it is. And am involved with the Lions, but those kind of things you do because of course that's your own personal
Yeah.
preference.
Yeah.
But you do have to give back. You got to appreciate the people who support you.
Exactly. And it's not like you do those things because you're looking for business or, you're
No.
expecting something from it. You are actually doing that from the goodness of your heart because you're right. It is really, pay it back for the generosity that's given to you. And so much business just flows from being in that posture, right? Like
Oh
just
goodness,
just
yes.
being a giving person. So I think that would be the takeaway from that part of the conversation is the relationship that you're building with the people. It goes into the everyday life, the grocery store, the different events around town, the markets, all those types of things. When you're seeing each other, it just continues to sort of build on that initial, business transaction that you did. And it's not like you're looking at that person every time going, oh, when are they going to
No.
work with me again, or if they haven't sent me a referral in a while, or, it's nothing like that. It's just that position of generosity is just so important
I
to
tell the
build on the
young realtors in
business.
our office all the time. I myself, if I ever have moments where I'm down, I'm in the blues, I'm quiet or whatever, head to the grocery store because for myself, it can take me over an hour. If I go there at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I tell you, you go in there and you're forcing a smile, but by
Yeah.
the time you're done, it's just been a genuinely wonderful experience because you see everyone and everyone's like, hey, Tam, how's this? How's that? And conversations. And it is a beautiful thing. So
Yeah.
if you need to get out of a slump, head to the grocery store
I love that. I'm going to go there on the way home.
yeah, and just start chatting with
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah,
So
it's so true though. And then you just, you kind of become a bit of a local celebrity.
I, I actually do love it because people do come up and go, "Oh, hey, are you?" And I mean, sure enough, I'm in a very, very small community,
Yeah.
right? So I'm lucky that way that I
Yes.
get a lot of recognition
Yeah.
where people feel comfortable and I think they don't feel threatened with
Yes.
me,
Yeah.
so they will come up and ask questions. And
Right.
I do love working in a small community.
Yeah,
So
yeah. No, that's so good. And I think, for those that don't maybe work in such a small community, maybe think about working in like a farm area, right? Like
exactly.
so maybe that's Oak Bay, maybe that's Saanich, or, a few smaller communities where you can really get to know the people in those communities and build off of that, right?
And we have so many agents who have been successful with farming. I mean, I know there's a move towards listing anything on Vancouver Island, but there is something very wonderful about working and being basically a professional in your
In
in
your
your in your
community.
farmed
Yeah.
area, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
So I
definitely.
still am a big push for the farming area.
Yeah.
So
Definitely. And for the consumer that is, lives in that area that the agent's farming, of course, it's going to give them a sense of, confidence if someone is specializing. I hate to say that word, but, that really knows that community well,
Yeah.
as opposed to someone who, oh, yeah, I sell all of Vancouver Island. It's like, but what do you do really well, right? And so, from a consumer point of view, if the consumer is still with us, you're listening to this one,
Hmm.
you really want to focus on finding someone in your community that really knows it well and is going to, be able to build off that relationship too.
I mean, open houses for sure. I can have clients that are coming into my zone from the mainland,
Right.
from Alberta, wherever, and just had an opportunity in an open house. They know after chatting with me that I know my town, and I
Yeah.
know any useless information they need to know as well. So they feel this comfortable because if they've made a commitment to my community, gosh, that's the right fit. We need to be
Yeah.
dealing with her because she knows her town. Like, so know every listing, know every
Yeah.
listing. If the open house isn't going to be a fit, I know the perfect house.
Right.
I'm out of here at 4. Why don't I meet you there at 4:30? I'll show you this house. This is a perfect fit for you. And they're impressed with that. They're impressed with the
Yeah.
fact that you know your stuff.
Yeah.
And if you haven't got the sales behind you, at least know everything else that's going on in your farming area.
So good. Such good
Yes.
advice. Amazing. See?
Amazing.
We're getting so much out of this already. Love it. Okay. So we've talked
Yes.
about that foundation. Then we have talked a little bit about beyond the closing as well and that lifetime sort of relationship. Um, but and we've talked a lot. It's probably a little bit silly to ask the question now, but we've talked a lot about, the things that you do out in the community and whatnot. But the question is, how do you balance staying in contact with clients without overwhelming them?
And I saw this question
Yeah.
come up, and I was like, how do you do that? I mean,
Or stalking them.
yes, I'm back at the door
Yeah.
again.
Hello, here's more flowers.
Will she just leave us alone, please? I mean, I don't really know if I've ever had that problem,
Okay.
just because obviously maybe I'm not knocking on enough doors. Maybe I was actually when you sent that, I was like, I don't know how you. I personally just think the constant, just the phone call,
Yeah.
even the texts are so easy nowadays. Hey, drove by the house, it's looking great. Hey, I heard, how's mom doing? Because maybe last time we were chatting and she was, maybe
Yeah.
they were talking about family and just actually, well, genuinely caring
Yeah.
about how they're doing. And people can read you. I mean,
Yes.
I think that a lot of times people don't understand, but the clients out there, they see genuineness
Yeah.
in people, and especially their agents.
Yeah.
So they know when it's fluff and they know when it's sincere.
Yeah.
And I think if you can just be sincere
Yeah.
with your clients, and just kind of reach out here and there. I am not one that's going to phone you and visit you for coffee every week. I'm not. But I do still.
I know, because I'm actually thinking, like, after this podcast, people are going to be like, wow, I'm going to, like, connect with her and, like, get her to sponsor my kids' team, and we're going to be going for coffee every week.
Well, you know what? There's something to be said about that too,
Yeah.
because I have found that sometimes, but when you're working with clients, say you're busy and you're out and about, and we're going for lunches here because we're out trying to shop for a house, and then when we get them into the house, that relationship, of course, does
Yeah.
taper off, and I do think there's a disappointment. Like they want you to still
Right.
be their
Yeah.
BFF. Like,
Yeah.
and you do have to be careful because, you're performing a task here to
Yes.
get them into the perfect
Yeah.
house. And it does get tough because I would love to clone myself and be that social one and the worker
Oh,
one,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
be able to be everything to everyone. But you do have to be careful
Yeah.
not to be too much
Yeah,
to
that's
your
true.
clients and keep on that professional note.
Well, and also, too, like, not burn out, right? Because, like, if you're on all the time for everybody. When do you get time for you? And that's, again, that's a whole other, we have a podcast about burnout, and we have an episode about mindset and burnout, and
Oof.
it's a real thing. And so balancing that. Just quickly, do you have a way that you track how you're reaching out to people to remind, like, so I asked the question because there'll be times like I'll run into somebody and they're saying, for instance, oh yeah, my son just broke his leg playing hockey. Do you write that somewhere and set yourself a reminder, like, you know, get in touch with him 3 months from now and see how the kid's doing? Or because I just don't have the memory to, and especially after 35 years, how do you remember?
I was saying that for the longest time. Well, of course, I started real estate. We didn't have cell phones.
Yeah.
I had the roll of quarters, and, I knew where every payphone was. But we didn't have cell phones. When the boss got the cell phone for the office, it was like, whoa, what is this? So cell phones have brought our world into a different,
Yeah.
mode. So, but back then it was memory, and it was even day timers, or just,
Yeah.
writing notes. It was note taking, and
Yeah.
and actual carrying paper. And I'm still the paper
You're
girl.
still a paper girl. I
I
love
mean,
that.
I think I was one of the last realtors to get rid of my pager. I truly
Back in
was.
the day, I
Someone
know.
had thought it was a thing, but
Yeah.
but no, I think
Do you
that,
still have one of those like Rolodexes on your
I think I got rid of that one recently.
some people that are tuning in might not even know what we're talking about
I
now.
still do have the book of cards, though,
Yeah.
from,
Yeah.
past realtors. And yes, I've got
Those
to
were the
let go.
days.
I still have my first MLS book, and that in
Wow.
itself would be aging me.
Yes, that's incredible. Yeah. No, but I
But
think, you know, I do find myself wanting desperately to be genuine, right? But also just sometimes it's hard to, remember everything that's been said to you.
oh
And I
gosh,
think in those
yes.
moments, when you see that person again, hey, I meant to reach out to you, and I'm genuinely sorry that I forgot. There was something that you said that was going on in your life. People are appreciative
Oh
just that
yeah.
you've, even said that much. You've been authentic with them.
Well, and baby
Um,
gifts, when you've sold them a house and then
yeah,
they have a baby, and just bringing a little
yeah,
gift over, just showing this.
yeah,
It doesn't cost a lot. It doesn't take a lot of time, but I'll tell you, at the end of the day, it really does come back twofold. Like,
yeah,
people really do appreciate your thoughtfulness
yeah,
when you're being sincere
yeah,
about it, and you're not, because you really do take those people on as your family, right?
totally.
Clients are family to me. They do become, I've had clients live with me. I've looked after cats. I've helped them move, clean.
Wow.
Like, it just, they become, because you can see that they're stressed a lot of
Yeah,
times, and
they're
you want to
exhausted and
make sure that it goes smooth, and they know that their realtor was there for them
yeah,
the whole way
yeah.
through.
That's so good.
Yeah.
I've learned to, part of it, I think, is when someone comes to your mind, there's a reason that that happens, and I've kind of adopted this over time. It's like if somebody comes to my mind, I'm going to text them right now and just be
That's
like, "Hey,
true.
just thinking about you. Just thought I'd send a quick text. You doing okay?
Mm-hmm.
Let me know if you ever want to have a coffee." And
Easy breezy.
so many times I've had the person respond and say, "You have no idea how much I needed that right now."
Yes.
Right? And so I think we something in us sparks that thought, and don't hesitate on responding to that like thought in your head. It's
Mm-hmm.
like reach out because there's something there, right? And so many times I've had it where someone has said, "Oh yeah, I really appreciate that." And it could be very well like, "Oh well, my husband and I are actually getting divorced," or
Yeah.
like, we've had a sickness in the family, and
Yeah.
then they're they're going through some stuff that they may actually need you for again. And so being there, being present for them, being sensitive to that, I think is just so huge,
Oh,
right?
I
Yeah,
I think we lack that in this world.
we do.
We are, people are getting away. In a roundabout way, we're not as social as we used to be. And
100%.
I think that if your agent just shows you kindness and courtesy, and I think that you just connect with them because we don't really do the neighborhood parties anymore, and we
Yeah.
don't do this, and really some people are not even seeing their family, so to be that person in their
Yeah.
life, which is great. And I love it when I have clients that move into my community. I was not their agent, I was just a listing agent, but still swinging by just to say hi. If you need
Yeah.
anything in suit, you let me know, or. And I love it when they actually think, 20 years later or whatever, oh, that's our realtor, Tammy. It's like, little do they remember I wasn't, but now I am.
But yeah,
Like,
that's right.
I
In their
love it.
minds, you
Yes.
are. Yeah. Yeah. Because you stayed in touch, right?
Just the easiest
Yeah.
thing, remembering names.
Yeah.
I mean, even just recently, we actually went and listed a house, and I brought Jacob along because I do bring the team into play now and they were, as I was a youngster selling real estate, they too were youngsters at the time.
Yeah.
And 35 years later, they called me in and we talked about their whole deal. We talked about the angelfish. I wasn't even their agent. I was selling the house that I was
Wow.
selling, to the house that they were living in
Yeah.
and helped them after the fact that they got in. But we just got this great relationship, and it was just like 35 years. And Jacob was just sitting there going, my goodness, you guys had a history. And I was like, and we just laughed and joked, but they were honestly the people that we were all in our 20s, and it was
Wow.
just really great. And we kept in touch, and here they are. They've headed back to Newfoundland, and it was just really great to be still that family agent,
Yeah. Yeah.
35 years later.
Yeah.
We've all
Well,
aged. And I looked at them and I thought, yep, we've all gotten old, haven't we? Remember how young we were, you guys, 35 years ago?
yeah, and your kids would have been small, right, when they bought the house, and now here they are in the
Jacob
business
was
with you.
1 year. Jacob was one when I used to bring him to the
Wow.
office. So,
That's
and he's been
incredible.
working now, 12 years with me. And Haley's now been working 3 years with
Yeah.
me. And I worked right up to the day I popped her out. She'll be mortified
Yeah.
that I even just.
That's okay. This is what we love. We
No.
love the little spicy
Yes,
things.
you know it.
No, I get it. My kids were the same when I sold real estate previously. There would be times I would have them in the car seat, bringing them in, showing them houses. And I would literally say to my clients, these are the mouths you're feeding. We do what we have to do, right?
Well, it's funny. I have one client, and I still see quite often, and every time he sells a house, he goes, "How many kids? What kid am I supporting through school right now, Tammy?" Because he sold 6 houses, and I think, yeah, you've actually got a few of my kids through school. I appreciate it.
That's so great. I love that. That's like such a great connection where you can just be that open about things, right?
Oh gosh,
That's
yes.
amazing. That's so good. Well, that's amazing. So, my next question was, can you share an example of a client you've worked with through multiple life stages, and you just did with this couple,
Well,
like all
that's
these
that one,
years.
and
But do you have another one?
well, I guess the thing is that I've had ones where I sold their house 20 years ago, but now, and then grandma and grandpa had to sell, so you kind of got involved with working and helping their parents because you've already got the rapport with them
Yeah.
and they trust you.
Right.
So, giving them mom and dad is really great.
Mhm.
But the best part is now is the kids, they're buying houses.
Mm,
I call them the kids
the kids,
because
yeah.
then I end up a lot of times my team takes them on
Right.
because they're more, and it's just fun to be part of that, to
Yeah.
see that progression of family because
Yeah.
we've worked with that mom and dad, and we got the 2 kids now and their new partners, and
Wow.
it is actually delightful. It's
Yeah.
really, because it really does go full circle then, because
Mhm.
your kids are now involved and they are really family clients that
Mhm.
we have built and nourished for decades. And
Yeah.
so it's really great to have the kids. So the kids are now buying. So
Yeah.
it is fun. I'm loving it. I
That's
just love it.
amazing. I mean, you can tell by the joy on your face. It's just so great. And I've said this in many episodes. I say it to many agents. I have agents that come into my office all the time, like, I need to get a sale. Because it's fully commission-based business, and sometimes we have a lot of overhead, we have a lot of
Yes.
expenses, and it can be very difficult. And I always say the same thing. It's the long game. You have to invest in order to get the return. And this is such a big piece of it,
Yeah.
and when you look back and you see all the different people through the family that you've helped, it's so incredibly rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I would say for any new agent that's watching this, just keep working through it, keep making those connections, keep being generous with your time and, and reaching out to people. Doesn't have to cost a lot of money.
No.
Just simple connections with people, a cup of
And I
coffee.
agree totally with you. I think I work with a lot of younger, newer agents in our office as
Yeah.
well. And, you really do have to make sure that your clients feel the trust and they know you're genuine, because they actually will know if you got that look of, help me, I need a sale now, I need this deal. They can see that
Yeah.
too. So you have to be really careful
Yeah.
and be smart, because if they know, hey, I'm not comfortable with this, I'm walking from the deal, and they see it in your face that, yeah, I totally understand. Let's move on. Let's find something. They're gonna stick by your side. They're
Yeah.
gonna be that's gonna be that one block of trust that they're gonna move forward with you.
Mhm.
And when they come to sell the house because you stuck with them, and guess what? They recognize the fact that you were honest and trustworthy and you worked hard for them. So they'll come back to you
Yeah.
year after year, even though they're staying longer in their houses.
Okay, so aside from that, and this, I'm going off script again
Yes, of
now.
course.
So sometimes there
Ye-
are going to be people there that you don't want to have lifelong connections with. Have you had any of those experiences where it's just been maybe somebody that's been just too difficult? And how did you deal with that? Or someone who just, didn't get the hint and kept coming to you and you're like, this is too much for me. How do you deal with that?
I'm very lucky because
Okay.
I always say I usually just work with the best clients ever.
Okay.
So I don't have, but I have had some in my years. I have had some clients that have been tough.
Mhm.
And I think full transparency is always huge. And if they're going to talk to you in a way that's not comfortable,
Mhm.
sometimes you just got to say it right to their face that, you know what? I think you need to find yourself a new agent, because I didn't like the way you spoke to me yesterday. And
Yeah.
you know what? I remember doing that to one client, and in essence, you're firing them.
Yeah.
Because you've come to that point where, even though the sale, you also have to have a feel good about
Yeah.
it yourself. And I just remember getting flowers the next day saying, please take me on back as your
Oh,
client. I'm so sorry. He obviously had a rough day
yeah.
too. And I happened to be the vent that
Yeah.
day. And I appreciate it. But I love the fact that I just said, you know what? I don't need to be talked to like that.
Yeah.
And you just draw the line, and you have to say it sometimes.
Yeah.
But there's lots of times you bite your tongue
Yeah.
too.
Oh, yeah.
You know how it is, and you smile and put on the happy face, but there's limitations. And
Yeah.
you know what? In this world, people sometimes feel that they're entitled to say what they want.
Yeah.
Well, as an agent, we're also entitled to be treated a certain way as well.
Fair
So,
enough.
and you
Yeah.
know what? I think sometimes people need to actually hear that.
That is true.
I
Yeah.
think that, we are, but this is another podcast.
That is another man, we've got so much content. We
Please.
could be, yeah, it's so
Please.
good. So I love all that we've talked about. Let's talk about with
Yes.
building these lifelong relationships. There is an element to referrals. And I, again, talk to our agents about referrals and how referrals is just one of the biggest pillars to a long lasting business. And so, what would you say? Like, what are some ways that agents can encourage referrals without asking directly? Because I know that agents have a hard time sometimes at the end of the transaction. Yeah, they've got a great relationship with this
Mhm.
person now, but they feel uncomfortable saying, well, this was great and thanks, but hey, don't forget to tell everybody else about me too, because how can an agent deal with
Ask
that?
for that.
Yeah.
They could ask for it. Just, and
Simply.
you don't have to say the referral word, because sometimes that's, like you say, the awkward word. You could just say, hey, just wanted to make sure you got my cell, and now that you're in your new house. But if you guys have any questions, concerns, anything that you or your family or your friends have, you know how to reach me. I'm always available, and because they'll go, hey, let's text Tammy. She's our realtor. They got cousins that are in for the weekend a year later.
Yeah.
Like, hey, like that house across the street. Wouldn't it be great if you guys, let's phone up Tammy. And then you make yourself available.
Yeah.
So I do think it's hard because I would be a tough one to say, hey, guys,
Yeah.
give me a call. Like, yeah, to ask for that.
Yeah, it just feels a bit
It
salesy,
is,
right?
I know,
Like,
and I'm so bad,
I
and
know.
I know I'm not the I should be a better girl for this. I'm sorry, young realtors.
But no, but I think what you're proving though is that if you're building the relationship properly, you don't have to ask that question, which
No,
I think is really powerful. Like the fact that you're answering the question the way you are is really powerful. It's saying, no, I have built a strong relationship with this person. I am scheduling to connect with them, continuously so that
yeah,
they don't forget that I'm alive. And I'm going to run into them places, and my face is going to be on, the sponsorships for different things. And oh yeah, 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 there she is again. There she is again.
yeah.
And that creates the ability to get more business without actually having to be weird and
Ask the
salesy
question
and
that
ask
way.
the question.
Ask
Yeah.
that question.
Yeah.
No, I totally feel for young agents nowadays and new agents,
Yeah.
not young agents, new
Yeah.
agents in total, because it is a tough gig
Yeah.
people don't appreciate the sacrifice
Yeah.
a lot of times
Yeah.
realtors make for their
Yeah.
clients. They really, truly don't. And, and to get nothing at the end of it. Like people don't, oh, hey, can you write out this report for me? They're not paying you. They're just like, we
Yeah.
need this done. And you're like, yeah, sure. Because you're available, you're
Yeah.
helping them in your service, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it is a tough one. And my heart goes out to new agents. And I always try to make myself available for
Yeah.
any of
You
the,
sure do.
the new agents that
Yeah.
are around that need some help, or even though the company may not be thrilled with what I'm saying.
That's not true.
He's- They'd be like, edit her. No.
Never.
So no, I try to be the same with my office and my
Yeah.
my colleagues in the office. I think it's my job as
Yeah.
a senior agent to kind of give everyone as much support and love as I possibly can and make them feel good, because
Yeah.
we have to pick each other up in this world
Absolutely.
sometimes.
Yeah. And
And
hold each other accountable too, right? Like, I mean,
oh, goodness
yeah.
gracious, yes.
Yeah. And I think, at this point in the conversation too, just for the sake of the consumer, and if they're still listening at this point, which I hope they are, just that understanding from their lens that like, you know, just remember that when you're going through the process of the transaction, you are reaching out to the agent evenings and weekends when you're free. And so, and we don't mind that. That's
No,
that's the understanding with the
that
job.
is, yeah.
But, we are sort of at your beck and call, and we're kind of going over and above in a lot of cases outside, and we've got families and lives and everything we've got to balance as well. And I'm not saying any of that to make anybody feel bad, but just an awareness of like, we hope that showing you that we're available for you when you need us, and that
Mm.
we're going above and beyond will be things that you remember when you're talking to a friend who wants to buy in the area. Oh, well, my realtor, she does it all, he does it all. You want to reach out to them, and that is the biggest, I think that's the biggest gift anybody could give a realtor, is to give somebody else their name,
Oh,
and to
goodness,
keep the
yes.
business flowing. And so I would say, for any consumer that's listening, it's like, don't forget about us. We're here. Pass our names
We
along,
work
and
hard.
we work hard, and we'll work hard for you, right? So,
Yes.
so that's awesome. Okay, so some quick fire questions.
Quick fire
Quick
questions.
fire.
Let's do it.
Okay. So, what's one misconception about building lifelong clients?
That it's hard work.
Ah, it doesn't have to be hard,
No,
and it doesn't have to be expensive either.
no,
Cool.
yes.
What's the one practice you'll never stop doing in your business?
And I know this might get me in trouble because this is a different world, but I'm still a hugger. I still hug my
Aw.
clients. I am known just to kind of see them and just give them hugs, and
Yep.
I'll still that. I know that there's lines nowadays, and but I'm still one of those.
Yeah,
I'm
I
still
am
a
too.
hugger. I'm a hugger.
I am too. I am too. I find it really difficult when I can't hug someone. Like I'm a tiny bit under the weather right now, and just the fact that I couldn't hug you or hug our Reshot partner
Mm,
here today who's filming us, it just makes me sad when I can't connect to you that way.
I know.
I one of my kids' teachers years ago, she was amazing, and she used to say, you have one of three choices: a hug, a handshake, or a high five. And I thought that was a really good thing
Wow, that
because
is.
then you're giving people the option. You just like,
Hmm.
maybe you don't feel comfortable hugging. But that's okay. We can do a high five or we can do a handshake or a fist pump. So I thought that was
Actually, I
very
like
clever.
that one too. I
Yeah,
must
a
save that
hug.
one.
Yep, there's
A hug,
your
a high five, or
a hug, a handshake, or a high
hug.
five, the three H's. Okay, if client loyalty were a building, what
Ooh.
would its cornerstone be and why? Oh my.
I think just trust. I
Oh,
think that always is. It always backs down. It always comes back to trust.
yeah,
They have to trust you. They have to have complete trust in you
yeah,
because you are having to help them navigate through one of the most stressful and expensive events in their lives.
yeah,
So they have to trust you fully. And you get to that point when you have lifetime clients that they don't even read things anymore. They're just
yeah,
like, where do we sign, Tam?
yeah,
And you're trying to go through it with them, but no, because that's that
because they
trust. They are
trust.
just like,
Yeah.
they know that they're going to be looked after.
And I will say that that is not a good thing to do if you're a
There you
new
go.
agent.
There's one of the things that new realtors don't do.
Please make sure that you
Sign here, sign here,
please
sign
make sure you're going through all of the legal.
Yes.
Don't just say trust me.
No,
But
and there's where I would.
no, I love
There's
it.
number one, Tammy, bad
But
in the
no,
company.
if they are lifelong clients, if you've done this with them a few times, that's
No,
different.
totally, for sure.
No, that's so good. Trust is so important. Awesome. Well, I think this has been a fabulous
Thank
conversation.
you.
I think, it's this industry is not just about the single deal. It's not a one and done. It is a lifelong, and I love the idea of the sort of this legacy of like the parents, or maybe it was the grandparents and then the parents and the kids and so on. And I think that is incredibly rewarding because this job is hard and it can be isolating. It can be, at times you feel like, should I be doing this anymore? And so just to, and I think when you feel that way, that's when you need to reach out to your clients again and just say, I appreciate you so much. And
This is the time of the year right now. I'll tell you.
yeah.
The fall, I always tell
Hmm.
clients, we may not get your house sold right now, but guess what? We're going to be having coffee, drinking wine. This is the time where you should make a commitment. I say to young, go and visit a client once a week. Make that a commitment
Oh,
every
yeah.
week. One client that you haven't seen for a bit, take them for coffee, take them for a glass of wine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just reconnect because when it's slow, this is the time that you should be kind of festering, making sure those
Yeah.
relationships are still tight. And
Absolutely.
because January is going to come along and we'll lose those 2 months of, hey, let's go visit,
Yeah,
right? And
that's true.
chat and touch
Yeah.
base.
Yeah, that's very true.
But thank you, April. I
Thank
appreciate
you, Tammy. This has been great. Thank you guys for joining us today. We're so glad you joined us. If you are a client of Tammy's, you might be getting a phone call really soon for a coffee. So cross your fingers and hopefully you'll be chosen.
Yes.
And Tammy has a fabulous team. Tammy, Jacob, and Haley Dimock are all part of the Dimock Property Group out in Souk, and they are out there in Souk and the West Shore and beyond to service you with your needs. Their information will be found in the details of the podcast. Reach out to Tammy. Go have a coffee with her. She is a riot. We have a great time when we're together. And if you want to check out more episodes, you'll see some come up on the screen here. Feel free to click on any one of them. We've got lots of great topics for you. And we wish you well today. Happy fall. And we will see you again soon on the Red Chair Podcast. Bye for now.